Hey, what's going on everyone, Vasco here and welcome back to the channel. And let's talk about Formula 1 pit stop. They're one of the most impressive things about modern Formula 1. So the mechanics are able to stop the car, lift the car, take the wheels out, take the wheels in, lower the car down and then get it on its way in less than 1.9 seconds. So this is an impressive thing about modern Formula 1, and it's one of the aspects that really differentiates the teams, especially on the top. You can see that Mercedes usually has slower pit stops than Red Bull, and that has had a real influence on some races, just like the French Grand Prix, where Mercedes thought that they could get an undercut, but Red Bull's in-lap, out-lap, and pit stop, crucially, were so damn fast that Mercedes couldn't keep up. And you see that in races like Monaco, where Mercedes failed with their pit stops, while Red Bull executed them brilliantly. And you can see that there's a real performance differentiator, and it's an aspect where a team like Williams, which usually have very quick pit stops, can differentiate themselves from the competitors in a good way without talking about engineering resources for the cars. It's a whole nother performance differentiator that's not related to the car, and is one of the few that's actually present in modern Formula 1. So firstly, I want to explain how pit stops are so fast in modern Formula 1. So there are about 20 people in a pit stop, and every single one of them has a crucial role. Be it the guys that hold the car, the guys that pass the new tires, the guy that hold the old tires, and especially the guys that put the wheels in once they are in position. Every single one of them has a crucial role in the pit stop, and it's like a very nicely choreographed dance. And if you see Red Bull in recent races, they have been even lifting the car before it's completely stopped in order to gain time, which is incredible to watch, really. And modern pit stops are fast because a lot of automated systems. So if you don't know, Formula 1 doesn't allow for systems that automatically put or remove the wheels or lift or lower the car automatically. It has to be done by human action. But teams have developed their jacks and their wheel guns to a point where they're basically automated, and they are incredible. So the jacks are able to lift the car with minimal effort and are able to get out of the way. The front jack actually leans to the side when the mechanic is lifting the car in order to let the car go without losing the time of the mechanic getting out of the way of the car like the old days. And then the wheel guns are actually very smart. So if you don't know, the wheel guns have torque sensors, and the wheel guns are programmed to know how much torque does it require to hold the wheel properly and to remove the wheel. And what they do is that once the car stops and the mechanic puts the wheel gun in, he will press the button and the wheel gun will apply a set amount of torque in order to remove the wheel. Then it will automatically switch to the inserting wheel mode, and once the other mechanic puts the wheel in and the wheel gun mechanic presses the button, it will tighten the wheel with just the right amount of force for that tread, and 99.99% of the time the wheel will be perfectly fitted with just a single press of a button. And even more, there's another big change in recent years. So a few years ago, you saw that the teams would release the cars with a lollipop man. This was a mechanic that would be watching all four wheels, and once the mechanics gave the signal, it would lift the lollipop and the car would go. But in modern Formula 1, they have a light system which has a green light and a red light, and once every single wheel gun is ready and the mechanics are ready, the lights will actually switch from red to green automatically and let the driver know that they can go. And this is all a process that shaves a few milliseconds here and a few milliseconds there, and is really amazing how pit stops have come in such a short period of time. So since refueling was banned in 2009, pit stops came down from about 5 seconds to now sub 2 seconds, and a pit stop that was 3 seconds in about 2014 was considered very fast, whilst now a pit stop that takes more than 2.5 seconds is actually considered really bad and can influence a team's race negatively. Okay, so now for the bad news. The FIA actually introduced a new technical directive that will take part from the Hungarian Grand Prix forwards, which means just next race we will see slower pit stops. And what this technical directive does, and technical directives are not released to the public in the same way that regulation changes are. So I don't really know, and nobody except for the teams knows, the real details in these regulations. But what they are doing is taking away from the teams some of these automated systems. So to explain what's going to happen, the automated systems will be fitted with delays, and these are artificial delays. So remember that pit stop system that I said that once the wheel guns reach a certain torque automatically turns the light green? Well, now it will be slowed down down, and it can be a tenth of a second or just a few hundredths of a second, but it will be slowed down. And this is not only going to be used in the wheel guns. This is just an example that I can give because it's one of the few things that became public, but there will be a lot of systems that will be slowed down and where software delays will be introduced alongside with removing some of the automation tools that teams currently have. And the main purpose of this was to make pit stops safer, because if you think about it, in 1.93 seconds, where less than a second will actually be used in order to fit the wheel properly, there's no way that the mechanic can verify his work and guarantee that the wheel went on track really safely attached. And this is why sometimes we see a wheel get loose in the end of the pit lane. Okay, so now that I explained to you the regulations in the best way that I could, I'm going to explain to you why I think that this is bad. Because this kind of kills innovation. It would be the same thing as telling teams that they would have to have a standardized front wing or a standardized engine. Because Formula 1, unlike other motorsports, is really a competition of engineering where not only the driver skill is taken into account, but also the engineering capabilities of a team. And I think that if a team like Red Bull or Williams are able to train their mechanics better and develop new automated systems that are better than the other teams, they shouldn't really be penalized by this, because now a team like Mercedes and a team like Red Bull will have about the same pit stop times because of these delays that will be introduced in the systems. And this kills one of the main performance differentiators that are really what makes Formula 1. It's the performance differentiators. And if you take away every single performance differentiator that the teams have, there will be less likelihood of a team that has an inferior car being able to make an amazing pit stop and jump a team with a slightly superior car. And this, in my opinion, kills a bit of the excitement in the races. Now let me tell you my main argument against this, because if you see the teams that have the fastest pit stops, so Red Bull and Williams, you see that these are the teams with the fewest unsafe releases, and I have a theory about why. Because in order to make a pit stop fast, you have to train a lot, and in order to train a lot, you are making the mechanics more used to every single system and making the pit stop more reliable. So the amount of unsafe releases in Formula 1 is really low when compared to other motorsports, and is really an insignificant factor. And if you think about it, it's really the teams that have the less experienced pit crews that make the most unsafe releases, not the faster teams just like Red Bull and Williams that develop the best pit equipment. Now you may be telling me, yeah, but the teams with the bigger budgets can really take advantage of their budgets in order to develop ever better, slightly better pit stop tools. And you could be right until this year, because now there's a budget cap and those sorts of things fall into the budget cap. So if a team decides that they want to invest a lot into pit equipment, they will have to make a choice in order to spend the money on pit equipment and not in the car, whilst other team might make the other choice. And this is one of the best things about the budget cap. It makes teams need to choose which areas of development they really want to pursue and which ones they don't. And it would be really interesting to see which ones decided to invest this in pit stops and which ones would decide to invest this in raw car performance. And now one of the aspects is going to be completely taken away, and you can expect pit stops to be a little bit slower. I still expect the teams with the faster pit stops to be slightly faster, but it won't be as much of a strategical advantage as it was before. And it's really a shame, because one of the things that I always looked forward in a race is see which team can do the faster pit stop without screwing the pit stop up and making a 5-second pit stop when they intended to make a sub 2-second one. And this really changes the races sometimes, and I think it's an aspect that we are going to miss whilst this technical directive is applied. And I really hope that Formula 1 reconsiders this technical directive, or at least opens up some new areas of development for the pit stops, especially with the 2022 cars. So those are my opinions, and let me know yours in the comments down below, because I really want to know what you think about it. And if you want to know a little bit more about the 2022 car that I just mentioned, I have a video here talking about the first leaked model that appeared, and then a new video right here talking about the final release that Formula 1 just showed, so the full-scale model that they introduced at Silverstone. But this has been it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you reached this far, I really hope you guys are enjoying. So this has been it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!